Yeah, when you feel
They're 2 minutes late. Hopefully they didn't people that drop off.
Attendees too. How do I chat to these people?
I don't know.
It says attendees.
Yeah.
Mike Bushi.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do I chat? Enable chat.
You talk to him.
Hello.
Mike. Say his name.
Mike. Yes.
Yeah. How would he know you're talking about? So I need you to put on your big boy chonies.
They can hear everything.
Okay.
Get that bicep slice.
And
They don't use the headgear.
make sure you talk to whoever comes on here. Greet them, please, and ask them what kind of questions. So ask him, please, what kind of questions.
It'd be really helpful if I could have somebody because I'm gonna be shooting with 2 hands. Remember?
All right. Yeah. Who wants to come hold this camera for a moment?
No,
You need
no,
help?
no. I need someone to type.
Need someone to type?
Yeah. Typing is more important.
Who wants to come type?
I'll type.
Oh, he'll hold it.
Okay, you type. You type.
All right. All right, guys.
Okay, so go ahead and get on the side. And so these are our
Thank you, Coach. See you tomorrow.
very simple.
Yeah.
Here for tomorrow.
So I'm going to be trying to keep this stable. It's a little bit funky.
Are you,
Go this way. It goes the other way. So
is he on?
he has not responded, but according, if I click this button, it'll show you their attendance or Michael. Right now, our only guy is Mike.
I'll get it started. For everybody who's on right now and checking out our first Ask a Black Belt webinar. I really appreciate you guys for coming in and checking us out. Right? I just want to make sure I give back to the community. And so what we're going to do is go over a few different cool techniques. And if anybody has any questions, all you have to do is reach out, type it in, and then somebody will read it off to me, and we'll get that stuff tackled. To me, jiu-jitsu is not just about the techniques, but it's also about the strategies and the concepts and how to think things through. And that's sometimes left behind when you're inside of a big class. Can you hear me?
We should be fine.
Can you hear me then?
I can hear you.
No, I mean through the headphones.
I don't know yet.
I can see it bouncing.
What's that?
I can see the sound bouncing.
Oh, you can see the sound button?
It's closer for us, but whenever you talk, it goes up.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so first things first. I want to talk about sweeping for submissions, right? Which is really important. I think a lot of people don't talk. They just like teach sweeps. You're like, okay, you're on the bottom, so you want to get on top, right? Or you're on the bottom and you want to do submissions. And I feel like sometimes it gets really compartmentalized. Like you're either going for submissions or you're going for sweeps instead of using submissions to get your sweep, right? Or using sweeps to start to set up your submissions, which I think is really important if you want to take your game to the next level. Because you do that linear stuff, and then guys are just gonna like not respect it. They know what that is. A blue belt's gonna know what that is, right? So to that point, here's Ty. Say hi to the people, Ty.
Hey, hi.
Hello, internet.
Hello,
Right.
peoples.
All right. So here we are. We're talking about using techniques, submissions for the sub. First one I'm going to talk about is one of my favorite inside the gi, right? And that is using the collar choke to break my partner's posture down so they can start to transition their weight. You got to think about sweeps. If I can transition their weight too far, let's say Ty is cut in the middle, right? He's cut right down the center. For those of you who like to watch Game of Thrones, don't worry, there's no spoiler alert. Let's say this side is Braavos and this side is Westeros, right? If I can tip him, if he wants to be in Westeros and I can tip him too far enough into Braavos, right? He's got to follow Braavos rules, right? What does that mean for jiu-jitsu, right? So what that means here is he's inside my guard, and let's say I give my collar choke, right? Let's actually turn this way so you can see. So here we are, right? I set my collar, right? Boom, here I am. I've set my collar choke. I'm starting to go for that submission, right? I'm starting to try to get my choke on, and we didn't coordinate this. Ty just started defending hard as well. Boom. All right. what I can do is I can start to pick him up, right, and bring him too far to one side. And let's keep the volume down over there, guys, a little bit. All right, so here we are. Boom. Here I am. I'm going underneath, right? I'm trying to get my choke, and he's starting to push out. I use that space to put my hook in, right? There's my hook. Now that I have my hook in, I start raising my elbow, right, and bringing all his weight on this side of his body, which is really awesome. Because now he does that, I'm just going to kick his knee out and block his elbow, which is letting him out of the choke. And then going right to the mount. Something I was just teaching in class earlier today, which is about going to the mount and then just turning my choke right back on, right? This is a really awesome opportunity, right? So I can go back and forth, back and forth. I think a concept that a lot of people don't go over very often is the concept that I teach my students about A, B, A, B, A, right? And what that means is, it's like I have an A attack, I have a B attack, I have an A attack, I have a B attack. I can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? And I have these from every position. As you get better and better, of course, if you're like purple belt, brown belt, black belt, maybe you have A through C, maybe you have A through F, right? Maybe you're Marcelo Garcia or Bruno Malfacine or somebody, and you have A through Z to the third power or something like that, right? And which is really cool. But honestly, if you see most world-class champions, I'd say they use their go-to thing and they use like 2 different setups, which is really important. This is a great example of an A, B, A, B, A, right? So I'm going for my choke, right? And if they try to get their weight back to this other side, I'm just going to reinforce my choke, right? If they try to run from that choke and get away, they're going to load on one half of their body. And all I have to do is take advantage of that. Because once somebody loads their on one half of the body under the ground, the other half is weak and easy to lift. Flat. Right? That wasn't even gold. That was flat, right? What I just shared. I hope you guys could hear that. Right? So that's one example of how to use this concept to sweep your partner. Right? So now here's another cool concept on how to sweep a partner. I think is really important.
Yeah.
Again, here I am inside the guard. The other one I like to use a lot is going to be the arm drag, right? So here I am. If he has a gi on, sometimes you see a lot of guys grab with 2 grips onto the sleeve. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like to grab wrist and elbow, right? And I bring them over to this side of my body, right? Now that I'm here, I have a bunch of setups for my arm bar. I can go underneath, boom, and start to take that, right? Now, as I'm going underneath, I get my leg over his body. A lot of times, guys will start trying to run away and take the angle away. So as he starts to run away, I push with his hamstring and push him over to get on top. Now, technically, I'm still inside my submission, but I'm also on top, which is a big boon for my arm bar right here. And if he does somehow get his arm out, it's really, really awesome for me because now I'm able to stay on top, right, and maintain my top position, which is really what I want, I think. I want to get that submission, and if that means that if I have to sweep him to get on top to get that submission, then I'm going to go for that, right? If they don't move and I stay in the spot, then you can sub them, and that's cool too. Right? I see there's a couple people watching. Do we have any questions?
Mike says that he's enjoying the webinar and he will chime in with questions when he has a question.
Okay, cool.
So
Still in transition right now.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. All right. So let's see. So another really important concept that I like here inside the guard, right, is using my Venus flower sweep, right? My Venus flower sweep, you can go to Aces BJJ on YouTube, right? Or I think we also have it inside the Cerebral BJJ system, if you're a member, right? In which I explain this kind of system. The way it works is I'm arm dragging across. Let's turn this way so you can see. arm dragging across, boom, and getting his lat, right? This is really important. Because right now I've set up several submissions and several sweeps, right? Now, with a sweep, all I have to do, right, is get my head on this side of his body, right? And then push. And I'm on top, which is really cool, right? It's a really cool opportunity. Let's go back. Again, I drag his arm, I drag his lat. I go underneath. He's all loaded. He's loaded on my hamstring. And I'm going to kick him off. Boom. And now I'm on top. That's good. Well, where's the submission? Where is it? Right? Some guys see this technique, right? And so they're like, oh man, they're going to try to fight the sweep, right? So once I'm here, boom, I'm up, right? What they don't see is I sneak my arm over their arm. Instead of going under to get the sweep, I don't know if you guys can see me go, instead of going underneath to get the sweep, I'll go over his arm, right, to get the arm bar.
Can you do it again?
Yes. So again, once I arm drag, right, once I drag his arm, I've got his lat right here. If I want to hit my sweep, I can go under. If I want to hit my arm bar, I call this my invisible arm bar because it's hard to see from the outside, right? I can go over his arm, boom, and get here. This is not a very difficult place to get to, which makes it higher probability, right? It's hard for him to pull his arm out because I'm compressing and crunching, right? Now that I'm here, now I'm going to give him what he wanted, which was him to go away. Push his head, open my leg. Right? Now here's the arm. He tries to pull his arm out. Boom. Right? There's my arm bar now. Right? The really cool thing about this is, right, I can always go back if he yanks his arm out. I finish my sweep. Also, if I have this arm still in here, right, and somehow he's able to pull his arm out, I also have a handy dandy knee bar. Just waiting right there. All of those sweeps, the answer to getting away from them is to run, right? It is for him to try to get out of there and dissemble what I'm doing. The issue with that is that as he does that, he's just giving me the sweep. I hope that makes sense the way I explained that. Sure. Anybody have any questions so far?
So Mike says, on that arm bar, any adjustment for no gi, do you need the friction of the gi to pull this off?
That's a good question, man. I like that. That's a really good question. No, the gi, this has nothing to do with the gi right here. This is a sneaky, sneaky sub. So the problem with some arm bars sometimes, as you know, right, is if the guy, maybe the guy doesn't have a rash guard on and it gets real slippery. Maybe he does have a rash guard and it's still really slippery, right? The cool thing about this is, let's get back over here where we were, because this is where the arm is, right? The cool thing about this, at no time in this submission, in this series, did I use the gi, right? When I arm drag, I don't like to use the gi. A lot of guys like to boom, use two hands on the sleeve in order to get it across. I am not a fan, right? I am not a fan at all, right? I like to get behind that elbow, right? And I cup on this side, and I like to put pressure on him and then bring it across and then grab his lat, right? Now that I've grabbed his lat here, what turns that arm on is me keeping him in and making sure I keep tight to his posture. I can't get down and then create all this space and look, his arm just slips right out. This is so important. I see purple belts, brown belts making this mistake, right? I have to make sure I stay close to his posture. In order to do that, I kind of crunch, right? I have to block his elbow with my hips, right? I got to keep my elbow up here tight. This elbow tight, right? Now I'm going to go under, right? Again, nothing here has to do with the gi, all right? Again, here I am. I'm keeping elbow tight. I'm going to shoot over, right? Nothing here has to do with the gi. Nothing, right? Now all I'm going to do is
he's going to try to pull out, which is really hard right here, right? Because I'm compressing, right? There's nothing for him to move back on.
So Mike says he'd like you to please show the knee bar entry again, and that he was writing notes.
Okay, cool. All right, so with the knee bar entry, let's say something happened before I got his arm, right? He started pulling out and I went anyway, right? Now here I have a triangle set up, right? But some guys are really smart and they start bringing their arm into their body, right? And I kind of go, I want to get my knee to the inside of his thigh, right? So as he's moving, right? As he's moving out, I go inverted and I bring my knee in. Notice my foot is framing his hip. I bring my knee in, and then I bring my other heel under his butt, and then bring him down. Right? Now I have a good bite. Let's go again. All right, so again, once I'm here, I had this lat. I'm trying to go for that arm bar maybe, but maybe it's being really difficult. Maybe he's pulling his arm out. Maybe I went for the sweep instead, right? Now that I'm here, I'm going to go inverted, right? I'm going to bring this knee to the inside, to the inside of his thigh. My knee's on the outside. I'm just going to bring it to the inside to frame him. All right? So, boom. There's my knee. You see it poking out now? Now that I'm here, I have to make sure I get bite on his butt. Boom. And then extend him and spread him out. Right? There is no triangling of my legs right now, which is totally okay. Because I have the option. Make sure you write this in your notes. I have the option for my knee bar. I also have the option for my toe hold, which I like even more. Because I love 2-on-1 attacks. This is just like an Americana or a Kimura. That's the way I like to teach it. Right? And once I hold on, I never let go. I never let go. Because as he starts trying to get away, oh my gosh, this is the most common escape that guys use. Right? The most common escape guys use, they try to get away from that knee bar and run away. And if you know to inside of that knee bar, grab a hold of your toe hold, right? And allow them to start moving away as you crunch up. You hit that toe hold so fast, it's unbelievable. I use the knee bar attack to set up my toe hold all the time. That's a great question. Thanks. Anybody else have any other question?
That's the only question so far.
Okay, cool. All right, so
let's move to the cerebral BJJ.
Okay.
The sign.
By the way, guys, we're gonna move forward towards it.
I want to get it more in the camera.
Okay, cool. So, by the way, guys, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's not over yet or anything like that, but a lot of these techniques and concepts we also do cover inside of cerebralbjj.com. It's not just me showing techniques. We've got Kurt Osiander on there. We've got Rafael Lovato Jr. On there. We've got Coach Alan Moeller, the first American black belt for Team Alliance, the #1 team in the world for many years in a row. We have quite a few other fantastic competitors and coaches are on there as well, so it's not just knee guys. But some of the same strategies and that question you asked about the knee bar is also in there. Let's talk some leg lock stuff. All right, this past weekend, Ty did a great job and won the blue belt shootout. The blue belts from all over Texas came out to see who was the baddest blue belt in the land. Guys came from Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, all that kind of stuff. And something that we had worked on quite a bit. But Ty likes kind of ankle biter, right? He likes it's a big deal for him, right? And we were able to cinch in that ankle lock, right? Which is really, really, really good, right? Not only did he sink in, it's a submission-only tournament. Not only did he sink in the straight ankle lock, but he did it on everybody. Everybody he went against, he subbed them. The last guy in the finals, he subbed them like I think under 4 minutes, or 3 minutes and 20 seconds or something. Let's talk about he felt really empowered by the leg lock. What game?
Leg lock poker game.
Leg lock poker, right? Leg lock poker is like I don't know if you guys out there like to play poker. I do, right? And so we're gonna go into 50-50. All right, and we're gonna talk for a second about leg lock poker, right? inside of this same situation. That failed knee bar, the toe hold, you can also ditch to 50-50 depending if that's the kind of game you like to play. Now, I'm a big fan. Some people are like, oh, 50-50 doesn't work in a street fight. I beg to differ, right? And so does apparently Ryan Hall on the Ultimate Fighter show, right? And scores of other high-level guys, right? But to this point, the straight ankle lock, I see a lot of people make some mistakes with it, right? One of the most common mistakes is the guillotine choke that they like to use. See that? Right? I use what we call my cup and my saucer, right? My cup and my saucer for the guillotine, right? A lot of people like to do that with their straight ankle lock, which is all good and well, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Bringing it in here, right? I like to make sure a cool little trick I learned from Dean Lister, right? Is bringing my hand tight in, boom, other hand on top, touching my heart. Now, what's a really cool thing about that is you don't see me doing all the extra stuff, right? Like arching my back and giving myself a hernia and doing all sort of kind of craziness, right? I'm already cinched up. I packed him his Achilles. People call it the straight ankle lock, but a lot of people don't realize that it was originally called the Achilles lock, right? The Achilles lock, because I'm attacking his Achilles tendon. I won't bore you with the mythology, right? But here I am using my cutter bone right here, coming underneath. A lot of my sweeps, especially against high-level guys, go to X guard sometimes, and from there I start to go to my 50-50 game. For those of you who like to play that game, right? So now that I'm here, boom, and my hands already come up, I'm gonna bring it up to my heart. I'm gonna have a special moment. Right? And that's how I'm gonna hit this really efficiently. Notice I'm not putting on all the extra things. All those extra things make it that much tighter. As soon as I squeeze my knees together, boom. Right? And then I look up at the sky. Oh, just looking up, guys. This is just me just looking up. Boom. Right? That's not including the arch of the back. Right? If you throw all those on at the same time, now all of your Achilles locks, it's turning like that. Anybody? I saw a meme the other day. I wish I knew this guy's name, whoever that black belt was. He's hilarious. Is there a question? All right. Well, I wish I knew his black belt's name. He was hilarious. He had a video with this one guy. He's like groaning and going nuts trying to get the ankle lock, and then you hear crunch, 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 and it's the guy. He's a black belt. He's like eating chips, right? While the guy's trying to break his ankle, and he dusts himself off and he puts it on and pops it, right? Which is tantamount to what's happening. A lot of lower belts, and sadly, a bunch of upper belts. That have not trained leg locks a lot, they don't understand that less is more. Boom. Me having less and getting in here. Boom. To make sure I hit it. Now, because I'm trying to hit a straight ankle lock, here's where leg lock poker comes into play. The straight, let's say I have a straight, he has a straight. I have a straight ankle, he has a straight ankle. Right? Now, let's say I'm really concerned. Turn that on. Tap, tap, ow, right? So in this situation, instead of me we try to go for it, ow, right? Instead of trying to go for it, I'm gonna bring it over to the other side, pass. Now I will always beat his straight ankle up, right? I don't care how deep it is. Good question?
We have a comment. Mike says, attended a Dean Lister seminar last weekend. This stuff is very familiar. Very happy to see it again.
Very cool.
So I think we should ask belt rank.
Yeah. Mike, who do you train with? What's your belt rank?
Okay, so just go ahead and type that in, and then when he answers, we'll let you know.
Okay, we should be able to see it. All right, so let's talk about this leg lock poker concept again. And anyway, to that point, Mike, I just want to give kudos to Dean Lister. The guy is not only a fantastic. Some people are really good at what they do, right? But they have a hard time communicating to other people to help them duplicate it. Man, Dean Lister, I'm sure you noticed, is fantastic at coaching and communicating intelligently what he's doing. The guy's sick, but I'm sure you already know that. Yeah.
So Mike says, Dean did emphasize the outside foot should be on top to prevent the heel hook. Any thoughts? ?
Yes. All right. So the issue. So the issue right here is I think what you're talking about is when some guys, when he has a straight ankle lock and one of Dean's heel hooks from right here from the inside, right? Him emphasizing to make sure that this leg is on the outside. I think that's what you're talking about. That's something he emphasizes a lot, right, on that inside heel hook.
Yeah, we're still waiting.
Okay. So anyway, but just for everybody else's edification, sometimes you're going to have guys, look, he's trying to hit this straight ankle lock right here. Look, he turns it on. Ow, right? So instead of me just like capitulating and giving into that, I can reach in, get his heel, and I'm gonna bring my elbow across to my bottom on the other side. Tap, tap. Right? And there's my heel hook. He can try to escape this, straighten his leg out. Tap, tap. I have control of his heel. If you guys at home can see, right? And underneath, I'm bit into his heel. Right here, right? And his foot is stuck in there, right? Tap, tap, tap. I turn my head over, tap, right, over the shoulder in the direction that I want to go. Here I am, again, take my hand, boom, reinforce my grip. I like to even bite in by squeezing my thighs together, right? And now that I have one solid structure, I'm going to turn over my shoulder. You already feel that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's tight. Make sure to verbal tap, guys.
Yeah,
Because your hands are busy on the other guy's leg.
Yeah, this turns on fast, right? So now that I'm here, I'm gonna bring this elbow down on the ground to my butt, and I'm gonna just turn my body.
Tap. Tap.
All right, and that's really important. A lot of guys actually attack leg locks this way, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm glad that Dean's bringing that to light. That heel hook is like there all day, and not just jiu-jitsu guys, but catch guys will catch you in on that quite a bit.
So Mike says, I'm a white belt training out of Renegade Combat Sports in Sioux City, Iowa. My instructor is Josh Slozen, a 10th Planet Purple Belt overseen by Derek Stewart, head of 10 Planet Omaha. Hoping for blue belt soon.
Nice, man. Sending positive vibes your way for picking up your blue belt. All I can say is that you stay consistent. You outlast everybody else. Forget blue belt, man. One day you'll be a black belt. I'm a huge fan of the 10th Planet system. I think it's a great complement to a lot of game that's out there. And I'm actually going to be talking about some of that stuff as well. Inside of the Cerebral BJJ system, and by system I mean inside the actual the program, I go over quite a bit of 10th Planet concepts that I've blended away from, or some that I straight up just thought were gorgeous, and I just plagiarized. And I'm like, oh man, dude, this is beautiful. Right. To that point, I also like to break down people's game because there's anti-game to each style, and we'll be talking about that in other webinars as well. Right. So to that other point, by the way, about Dean Lister.
Should we ask Mike what he's trying to get better at right now to get his blue belt?
Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Michael, what are you trying to? Somebody's asked me to ask you what you're trying to get better at right now to move on towards blue belt, or what are you dealing with lately that's been getting shut down that you're looking for some kind of fix it for? Okay.
We'll let you know.
Sweet. All right. So in this leg lock poker concept, when Ty has a straight ankle and you're not deep enough, right? There you go. All right. This was our issue, all right, that we have to work on. Right. This is where I want you to be. It's turning on already. Right. So now that I'm here, right, what I need to, a lot of people have a hard time letting go. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create pressure with my elbow, and then I'm going to sit back and then pass this leg to the other side, right? Ty is going to be putting pressure on the whole time. Ready? Go. Tap. I'll win every time, guys. Every time. Every time I'm going to win, right? Because I've changed the angle of our attack and the cross angle. I just want you to think about it. This is why I call it leg lock poker, actually. Because the cross beats the straight, right? Think of it that way. The cross beats the straight. Somebody straight ankle locks you, you cross ankle lock them, right? It goes deeper than that, right? Which goes like straight and then cross, and then we start talking about heel hooks and toe holds and bears, oh my, right? And all that kind of stuff, right? But just to suffice it to say for the amount of time that we have right now, that straight ankle, now the smaller intricacies.
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 Intricacy.
I was correct. I was right.
Intricacies.
I was right. Intricate
Intricate.
stuffs.
Intricacies.
Right. All right. So here we are. The intricate parts that make this work is making sure that I clear his leg in a timely manner. Right. As he's trying to bring me in, a lot of guys, they feel like they need to like get control or something like that, and it's not necessarily the case. Right, you don't have to. I feel like that slows you down instead of like, let me fight this first and then go for it and then attack his. A lot of times, by that time, he's already let go and moving on to something else if he's smart, right? If he's not, he's just still holding on, right? It's not good. It's a whole other issue, right? So, and here what we're doing. Here what we're doing. He's attacking, right? I'm attacking. Whoa. Now, once I get here, right? He can't get it. I'm going to win. There you go. I'm going to win every time. I can't tell you how powerful that is. Sometimes I put my straight ankle lock out there to bait you into that ankle lock. I'll even look like this. Right? And then the guys will try to take my straight ankle lock and I'll immediately go. Before they're even done finishing, going for their straight, I'm already moving for my cross ankle. Right? Which is an awesome opportunity. Right? Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, so far?
We got one from Nick
Nice.
in Austin.
Nice.
Bow and arrow choke.
So Nick is asking, can you go into detail about the bow and arrow choke and when is that useful?
Bow and arrow choke. Okie dokie. Man, I could do a whole seminar on bow and arrow choke, right? There's so many things to go over inside of it. I would say this. Here are some key important details, I think, doing the bow and arrow choke. And there's a couple of different ways to do it and different guys. So in jiu-jitsu, like I'm a jiu-jitsu nerd, right? So it's not just the techniques and strategies, but also on the history, right? And there's a couple different schools of thought. And I personally don't think either one is wrong. It just depends on your style and what your plan B is, right? It's like playing pool. If you don't know what English is on a ball, right? If I hit the cue a certain way, I can send it forward after it hits. I can send it for my next shot. I can set up my next shot by bringing it back. I can do a stopper, things like that. Same thing in jiu-jitsu, right? Whatever my move is, I give myself a little bit of wiggle room to attack my next option, right? So that I continue moving. Movement's very important. Okay, like shark, right? Helson Gracie style, right? So in this situation, I like to make sure I have my seatbelt, which is really important. I teach my students we're going to talk watching a movie. We get cheek to cheek. We're going to watch Finding Nemo or Princess Bride, right? Something like that, right? We're going to watch a movie, right? So in this situation, I want to watch this movie because I don't want him to bang, headbutt me, and break my nose. I did all that work to get to this good spot, and then he breaks my nose because I didn't have a tight position. Right, so I'm gonna watch this movie, and now here I'm gonna raise up and pass this collar to my hand. Right now, if you notice, I'm already tending this elbow right here behind his shoulder, right, which is starting to put on the choke. As I do that, right, I'm gonna bring my other hand down. Right now I was underneath, now I'm gonna come down. Right now it's a really far distance to lean this way. Which is why a lot of times when guys fight this here, right, start fighting, boom, I bring my leg across, right, boom, I'm in a good spot, right. You all right?
Yeah.
You awake?
I'm awake.
Okay. The two schools of thought, right? The one school of thought is it's okay to just bring this leg across, right, and then if I start to lose it, right, I can start shooting for that armbar. Or there's triangles there, all kind of stuff, right? Now the other school of thought is to close this guard up right here, right? Right? Boom, right there, on top, right? And kind of pillow his head. And I use my legs to send him away. I think both of those options are great. They're both beautiful, beautiful options. Beautiful, beautiful butterflies, right? I don't think either one is better than the other. It just depends on where you want to go. If you're if the arm bar is the next safest place for you, then I would say that I'd keep it across the hips, right? And if the next safest place for you is a triangle or a reverse triangle or my golden arm or a street sweeper, then you might want to close that up, right? I hope that answered that question for you, Nick. All right. Any other questions on? All right. Guys, this concludes our first black belt, Ask a Black Belt Q&A. I'm really stoked to be able to share with everybody. I'm going to be doing this every week that I'm in town, and probably a few weeks that I'm not in town as well. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be at Combat Con with Alan Belcher, right, and a few other guys, UFC, Tim Prater, and those guys. So hopefully I can get some time out there. Give a big shout out. As you can recognize, I'm sporting the Show Your Roll Undefeated for this seminar. Huge fan of Show Your Roll. Hope they get to check this out, right? And a huge fan of Don Mega. If you guys can check out #Don Mega. They do some awesome things in the community for jiu-jitsu practitioners that are in need and other people that are in our community, you know, that have some stories that need to get out. So anyway, I also like to give a shout out to my coach, Coach Alan Moeller of Team Moeller, and appreciate you guys. We should be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. This should be coming up on the Cerebral YouTube before tomorrow morning, so you'll be able to watch this again and again.
We have a new attendee. Oh, it's Gabriel.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. So anyway, keep training, keep growing. Us. Also, check out cerebralbjj.com. Do it. Visit. Check it out. Live in it. Love it. Do it. Do it. Got your code. Do it.
We done?
Yeah.
Okay. Send it.